Hello everyone, and welcome back to Freedom Planet on Steam. I am One Sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are tackling the final zone of the game, the final Dreadnought, the hardest zone in the game, and it's actually split up into 4 major acts. Now, as I said in the previous part, I'm going to be tackling this zone entirely as good old Lilac. So no more Carol gameplay from this point onwards, folks. It's just going to be pure Lilac, you know. This is the final stage of the game, and I want to treat it as such by playing as the main character. Now, this stage is the most treacherous level in the game, as you would expect. You got everything is out to kill you. You've got enemies spawning in at will. You've got tons of the new hardest enemy types in the game. You've got pillars that shoot lasers at you. You've got these things that sort of dash across the screen that I killed before they really popped on screen. And throughout the entirety of this zone, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have Lord Brevon issuing orders to his troops in a vain attempt to stop us, you know? And honestly, this stage is one of my favorite stages in the entire game. That's the primary reason why. You actually feel like the main guy, the main bad guy, is actually out to try and kill you, you know? He's trying his best to stop you. And this is something that a lot of games get wrong, you know? You never feel like the final level, the final boss is really trying their damnedest to stop you, and this game just nails the entire feeling of that. It's just so climactic. It feels like endgame stuff. And oh god, the music. This is probably my favorite level soundtrack in the entire game. It's so climactic, you know, it's so good. I love this stage. Now, whenever you reach the second part of the first act as well, Lord Brevon himself will actually open up all of the airlocks, which, if you get caught in the airlock suction, you're going to be sucked down. Now, if you get sucked down too much, you're gonna die. You're gonna get sent out of the ship and you will die. However, if you're good enough at using your Dragon Boost, good enough at timing your jumps, you can usually get through these airlock sections and get by without too much worry. There's usually a safety room that you can fall into if you're, you know what you're doing, but like that, for example, that was a safety room. If that wasn't there, I would have died. So, yeah, you have a very small chance of error in this stage. Now, of course, be careful of the laser beams, as you can expect. You know these things from back in the trap hideout. They're quite annoying things to deal with. So, just be careful, and every now and then in this stage, and this is something that applies to all the acts in this stage, you'll come across these green teleporty things. Good explanation words I haven't I? Basically, you jump into the teleporty thing and you will be teleported, hence the name, to a different part of the stage, you know? But we're pretty much getting close to the end of the stage right now, right about here, and we're coming up to a boss fight that, if any of you ever played the game Gunstar Heroes on the Sega Mega Drive, this boss fight will seem very, very familiar to you. This is a lot like I don't know this guy's name, but this guy's a lot like Seven Force in Gunstar Heroes, where he has a number of moves where he transforms into different items. Like right now he's a laser cannon that's shooting from the top of the ceiling, and now he's a pogo stick. He transforms into loads of different forms, and I don't know how many forms he has exactly. I think I see them all in this boss fight. There aren't 7 of them like Seven Force in Gunstar Heroes has. But when he turns into a train, he shoots laser beams forward, so simply jump over them when you get the chance. And he'll occasionally also turn into a saw blade, which is pretty much invulnerable. You can't hit him when he's in saw blade. His weak point is the center of his head, so just do your best to try and hit that. And honestly, it is a pretty simple boss fight when you get the pattern down, but it is it's a really, really amazing callback to Gunstar Heroes and Treasure's old classic Mega Drive games, you know? You just can tell that the team making this game have just been inspired by Sega, and it's so good, you know? I love it, I love it. But with that is the first act of the zone complete. Now, the first act of the zone is really get a go fast in its mentality. However, the second act is a little bit, well, not shorter, it's a longer stage, but hey, cool, 3 1-ups. Just my luck. The second act is primarily it's a lot more of a platforming stage than the first act, you know, it's a lot slower paced in comparison, and you can still do your gotta go fast, and in one point in the stage, it's pretty much mandatory to gotta go fast, because otherwise, you're going to die, and I'll explain more about that when we get to it, because it's a pretty big gimmick that this stage has, and it's quite a unique one, actually. We're also, well, we're not really introduced to these slime guys, because these were in, like, Sky Battalion, but they're back. Just deal with them like you did in that zone, just hit them once and they go down. And I kind of like these switch puzzles you got. You have to push the switches and hold them down for a set amount of time for the doorway to permanently open properly. And when the doorway opens up fully, then you jump down and Bob is your uncle, you know, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, this stage is a lot slower paced, there's a lot more exploration focused, which I don't mind, you know. You get a bit of every type of stage in the final zone. You get vertical platforming, you get horizontal speed-based platforming, and also you get the tricksy maze-like levels like this one. Although this isn't really a maze, because it is very easy to figure out where you're meant to go, but you know, your first time run, you can probably be blown away by the fact that, oh god, I got so many pathways, I don't know which way's the right one, blah. So I can see people probably have trouble in figuring out where to go the first time, but it's not really what I would consider a maze stage. Anyway, throughout the stage, you'll also have Mila occasionally popping up through a lot of air vents, because she's doing her Metal Gear thing, and she'll drop down health power-ups that she finds, and just shields and whatnot that you're going to need to make use of. One down the line is actually mandatory to pick up, because otherwise you're going to die if you don't pick up one of her power-ups, so foreshadowings for some epic events, you know. But yeah, the main thing about this stage is, much like in, what was the stage called? Thermal Base, was it? Yeah, let's go with that, Thermal Base. Like in Thermal Base Zone, we have to collect all these key cards in order to open up all of these Xbox doors, and otherwise we will not be able to progress forward, you know. And again, I like the stage. It's not as good as the first act, and it's not as good as the upcoming acts of Final Dreadnought, but it is a neat little change, just because, you know, platformers don't need to always be gotta go fast, you know. It's nice to sometimes have a nice slow platforming stage. I can't say a nice chilled out platforming stage, because this stage is far from chilled out. It's bloody hard, folks. This stage will drive me, well, it never drove me up the wall, but I can see the stage driving people up the wall, you know. I've done fine in my playthrough to this stage, you know. With the exception of this one jump by here, god damn it. If this Brevon troop wasn't here, I wouldn't be so hasty. Oh, okay, he's lost a tank. I can't be bothered with you anymore, I gotta walk over here. But yeah, you need a lot when playing the stage as Lilac in particular. You need to really keep an eye on your Dragon Boost meter, you know, your special gauge, because otherwise you won't be able to use the Dragon Boost, and you need that in order to progress further on, because you need to use it to gain access to the higher levels. Now, when playing the stage as Carol, you can just simply wall jump up the stages, and that's kind of why I feel like this stage in particular.
You're forgetting something important,
Oh, I love his voice. I love Lord Brevon's voice. It's so amazing. But yeah, like I said, this stage is more suited to... Oh, Jesus. This stage is more suited to Carol than it is Lilac, you know, just because of the playstyle. It's just a lot more precise and a lot less gotta go fast. But, yeah, we need to be careful now, because Lord Brevon's gonna destroy all of us using the oxygen. They're gonna get rid of all the oxygen in the entire stage. Which means this, ladies and gentlemen, is essentially a water level without the water. It's quite a unique take on the idea, you know? But if you look on the left-hand side of the screen, this is something I never really brought up before, because we were never in the water long enough for it to be a thing. We actually have an air meter. Now, if that hits 0, then we'll have a few seconds left in order for us to survive. Otherwise, we're going to die. But fortunately, Mila is here to save the day with her water shield. So she'll throw out a bubble shield, jump into the bubble shield, well, not jump into it, but open it up, and you should be safe for the most part. However, this means you can't get hit. You cannot get hit more than a certain amount of times. Otherwise, well, you're gonna start running out of air again, which can be quite troublesome, you know? Now, I do not like these turrets by here just because I keep thinking the bottom turrets are shooting upwards as well as downwards just because of the way the sprite looks. So I can't really blame the game for this because this is my fault, but I always get really troublesome, you know, I always have issues just getting through this sequence. Now, if you do die, however, do not fret too much because you will usually respawn pretty much right next to a door or a Mila area like this, see? And she even gives you extra refills, despite the fact that refill did nothing, but yeah, I digress. Anyway, this sequence will be very familiar to anyone who's played Sonic Colors on the Nintendo Wii. Basically, you've got a bunch of buttons on a lift. If you push down the button, the lift will go up. And as the lift is going up, you need to dodge spiky balls and the like. And obviously, those spiky balls, they hurt. Like, if you get touched by one spiky ball, I believe it's enough damage to destroy your shield in a single go. So, you need to really take your time to get through this one, folks, and just don't rush. I mean, now I'm rushing, but that's because I have, like, no health and no shield, you know, but for the normal person, don't rush. Rushing is no good. It's also a nice extra one-up over there as well if you need it, which I recommend picking up, especially with the upcoming boss fight. Because the upcoming boss fight in this game, ooh, she's a doozy. In fact, all of the boss fights from this point onwards, you're in very high risk of dying, you know, it's very easy to die to every one of these upcoming boss battles, so all I can say is just keep at it and hopefully things work out. Now you might be wondering where to go from this point onwards, just go up. When in doubt, use the boost ability and just go up and you should be able to find your way, you know? But yeah, like I said, the key to doing this is being patient. Don't just fly up the shaft as quick as possible, you know, because you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt by the spiky balls. Getting hurt by the spiky balls is bad. You might be a dragon. The spikes. Oh, it's still painful stuff. Although when you do reach the top of here, the lights will turn on, the oxygen will turn on, and oh god, the lives they're giving us, they're gearing us up for something, aren't they? Ugh, that's not terrifying. Mother! So yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take down Super Serpentine. Now this is one of the hardest boss fights in the game, and he does have a very set pattern. First thing he's going to try and do is he's going to try and do a simple Falcon Punch attack onto you. And when he does the Falcon Punch, he will try and knock you off the edge, obviously. Then, after that, he tries to do another Falcon Punch attack again, and then he'll usually follow up with like a downwards Hadouken that will cause a gigantic shockwave on the floor. So whenever he jumps in the air, you're basically going to need to jump up yourself, otherwise you're going to get hit by that. And every time he does a few hits of damage, he's going to start using his super attack, which will shoot out basically an unavoidable amount of lasers that you need to simply dodge in and attack him before he can kill you. And occasionally he'll also shoot out a flamethrower, which is probably his easiest attack to avoid. Now whenever he does go to do his super attack, you'll know because obviously lasers will pop out of him like right now. And what I recommend doing is simply jumping to the far left or far right of him and then dragon boosting into his head. And that should get quite a bit of damage to him done, and you'll avoid the damage from his attack. But yeah, this does take a good few attempts if you don't know what you're doing, folks. This is a really, really challenging boss fight. And I know the pattern, and even I'm having a bit of issue, you know. It's a very tricksy one. But with that, Super Serpentine is down and out. And with that, folks, that's the end of this part. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people. And I'll catch you all in the final part of Freedom Planet. Bye! Sweet, 2 1-ups.